giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Friday. Good morning. Good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live on this Friday. Streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom! It's Friday, ladies and gentlemen. As you can tell, I'm excited. Got a jam-packed show for y'all, man. Coming up today, we're jumping back into our free agency primer. And we're talking about the defensive tackle position. This position, it just continues to evade the Cowboys for real, for real. We'll discuss it a little bit. I've got four options, four realistic options. You know how we do on this free agency primer. I'm not here to sell you hopium, Cowboys Nation, but I'm going to give y'all four realistic options, three for the most part, that I think will come in here and help upgrade the room, upgrade the depth, and should be a good one. We'll look at some tape, some stats. Y'all know how we do. Break it all down, get the background on these guys. Then later on, we do got Pat coming through for the scientific method. He just dropped an article on this particular position. So we're definitely going to continue that conversation with Pat, get his take on some things. And, Marv said, hey, ask Pat about a particular player. And we shall. We'll do all that. But what's good with your Bomb Squad? How we doing?
Bomb Squad!
How we feeling on this Friday here? I look, my service is good. AT&T's back up. Somebody told me they couldn't watch the show yesterday because AT&T. Everything should be everything for today's show. You know what I'm saying? Now, we don't have a roundup, so we're going to get right into it. But I do want to say good morning to everybody. Yes, sir. No C will be in the building, man. No C will be here. And he'll be talking about the defensive tackles. Now, let me say this real quick. Let me just get this out the way off the top, okay? Chris Jones, Matabuke, Wilkins, DJ Reader. Sorry, I kind of tricked y'all with the thing with it. Who else is out there? DJ Reader, Christian Wilkins, Leonard Williams.
No.
Not happening. I don't mean to get you. I don't mean to just poo everything already, but I'm just saying.
No.
It's not happening. So let's live in this reality world of where we can find some quality players that are realistic that can come in here and help the Cowboys. Okay, I just wanted to get that out the way. When does free agency start? The new league year, technically, and I had it up. Did I get rid of it? I had it up. Let me see here. The new league year starts March 13th, but that is when I believe you can start to sign your own guys. Let's find it here. I got you. March 13th, receive personnel notice, transactions. Okay, so March 13th, so March 11th, I'm sorry. March 11th through the 13th, you can start to negotiate. That's that little window. So technically, you can negotiate starting March 11th, and you'll start getting breaking news. You know, whoever signs DJ Reader, since we're talking about defensive tackles, but it's not official until March 13th. So March 11th is when, teams can start to negotiate, where the Cowboys ain't going to start negotiating probably until the following week. That's usually how these things happen here. But I do want to talk about this position. I want to get into it right now. This seems like the, I don't know, third, fourth, fifth season. I feel like every offseason we get here and we talk about this position. Hey, Cowboys need to get bigger, need to get stronger. Hey, and this was a huge thing under Rod Marinelli. It was every year under Rod Marinelli because Rod didn't really believe in the big guy. Hell, he hardly believed in the good guy. Rod said, give me whoever I can turn water into wine. Give me the orphans. Then Dan Quinn got here. And we saw Dan take the position a little bit more serious, right? Got Brent Urban, a notorious run stopper, drafted some big guys, traded for Hankins and whatnot. So he did put, I don't want to call it a premium, but he put more emphasis on the position, but maybe not enough. I don't even know if we should say maybe. I don't think it really was. And then last year, Micah was at, you know how everybody's at the Super Bowl, and they asked him about the position or something like that. And it came up, and he brought up a name, Daron Payne. And, you know, I laughed because Mike is not aware of the Stephen Jones just yet. He about to be. Oh, him and his agent are about to be. But I laughed because you're not signing Daron Payne. It's not happening. But he said, yeah, we need that. And we did. Now, we brought back Hankins, and maybe we'll bring back Hankins again, but that is not enough. I feel like you need multiple dudes. So this year, again, I believe it was with Stephen A. One of the clips was going around on Twitter where he was saying, yeah, we'd love to get another 330 pounds, a big guy and a strong linebacker coming downhill. So now we're 2 or 3 years in a row in this new regime still asking for these type of players. For whatever reason, you know, DQ drafted one and we got rid of him weeks later. No, seriously, we got rid of him weeks within the season. Bo, they decided to choose somebody else over Bo. Bo was gone. So you really were left with one real guy because of the whole Mozzie Smith situation with losing weight. And did y'all see what's happening with his? I mean, maybe we'll get into this later on in the show, but apparently his storage room, I don't know what's going on, man, but somebody need to find out. Jerry need to go send ghosts and see what's happening. But the Cowboys need to add guys in this room. And maybe Mike Zimmer is just the guy to do it. Maybe he's just the guy to do it. I talked to you guys, was it earlier this week, maybe Monday, Tuesday, about the position and what Mike Zimmer brings, specifically when he was with Minnesota. And dare I say, the Fat Boys are back.
Fat Boys are back, and you know they can never be whacked. The Fat Boys are back. Do you like the Fat Boys?
Amen. Shouts out to the Fat Boys. Rest in peace. They might be back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying. I told y'all it's different when you see it than when you hear it. You know what I'm saying? When you go look at Mike Zimmer in Minnesota, he did not play around about that position. Now, granted, he was there for 8 years compared to Dan Quinn's 3. But regardless, these are just the heavyweights, right? Because that's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about the 3 tech types, you know? We're talking about more of the heavyweights. Look at this. Linval Joseph, 329. Kendrick Ellis, and this 6'4", 329. 6'5", 346. 6'4", 320. 6'5", 310. Michael Pierce, 6 foot, 355 pounds. Ladies and gentlemen, the ratio for that is real life. He's like 450 pounds, man. That's not a lot of space to jam pack in 355 pounds. And honestly, they might have been generous with his weight because Michael Pierce is a big dude. And then they went out and signed Dalvin Tomlinson as well, 6'3", 325. So Mike Zimmer, he put an emphasis on the position. Pierce was signed. Dalvin Tomlinson was signed. Linval Joseph was signed. I believe Kendrick Ellis. Most of these guys were actually signed. They drafted some as well, some late round guys that stuck around. I think Steven was one of them. He had 2 stints with Mike Zimmer. But I go back to something we said when Zim was here. If they let Mike Zimmer do his thing, it's hard for me to come away from this offseason not believing that he won't attack this position aggressively. Now, it comes down to what, Cowboys Nation?
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
It comes down to the money. And when you look at the position, there's a slight shocker. I say slight because there's always the devils are in the details. We know Stephen Jones is not a guy that's going to spend a ton of money in free agency. That's just not what he's going to do. But there has been one position where he spent more than he normally does, and that was the defensive tackle position. If you go all the way back to 2016, y'all remember Cedric Thornton? If you don't remember with the Cowboys, that's understandable. He was not a memorable player for the Cowboys, but he was for Philly. He was a pretty solid guy for Philly. Cowboys signed him to a 4-year, $17 million deal, $9 million guaranteed. I believe he got something like $6 million signing bonus, so they cut him after one season. They were able to get out of it, and the dead cap wasn't a lot. And I know y'all remember Gerald McCoy. He was the big signing in the first year for Mike McCarthy. 3-year, $18.3 million deal, $9 million guaranteed. Again, though, devil in the details, because there was an injury clause. They knew about this dude's quad or something like that. It was like a quad or a hammy or something with his leg that they knew was damaged. And if he were to get hurt because of it, they had an injury clause where they weren't on the hook for any more of his guaranteed money. So he had, I believe he got about $5 or $6 million at signing, and the other $3 million the Cowboys were off the hook for. So that number right there, the Cowboys' number of $9 million guaranteed to the defensive tackle position, that is higher than their normal number in general. What do you mean by in general? If you go look at the history over the last decade, the Cowboys, they hover around that 5, 6, 6.5 million. They don't like to go above that. That's about where Steven says that's enough. And if you look at a situation like this where it's above $9 million or where it's above that $6 million threshold, they like a longer contract, 3-4 years. So with all this information, Mike Zimmer, Stephen Jones and how he operates, the available free agents, I had to find a way to put together a handful of free agent defensive tackles that the Cowboys can look at, realistically can come in here and help upgrade the room from a depth standpoint. Before we get into them, I am on board with bringing back Hankins, though. So you brought back Hankins last year for $1 million. I don't think it's going to cost you more. Hankins should be, unless he wants to go somewhere else. He's tired of Dallas, which I don't think he is. He seems happy here. Hankins should be a no-brainer, but it shouldn't stop at Hankins. So when I'm reviewing these other guys, it's with the thought process that Hankins is here. These aren't the one and only dudes. Because if you're not going to bring back Hankins and you're not going to shop at Dollar General, then yeah, I would go all in with the DJ Reader or somebody, right? But look. DJ Reader's projected contract is roughly $15-16 million annual. It's not happening, right? It's not happening. So let's operate in reality here. And because in reality, there are some guys that can give you a boost from a depth standpoint, a need standpoint, and a fit standpoint for the Cowboys. And the first one I want to talk about here, this is probably more for the draft community if you guys are familiar with said player. Raekwon Davis, Miami defensive tackle. Look, he's not a big name. He's a big dude though. Ain't a big name, but he's a big dude. 6'7", 335 pounds. He is a prototypical first guy off the bus guy. 6'7", 335, Alabama product, built in a lab. Ended up becoming a second round pick for the Dolphins. And you could argue he probably didn't live up to that physical stature just quite yet. He's 26 years old, so he's not an old guy. He's more on the younger side for a free agent. However, he hasn't taken that step where he's a Pro Bowler or anything like that. He was a part of a rotation in Miami, and for a second round pick, you would hope that he would become a potential Pro Bowl type. His number's not going to wow you from last year. He had 28 tackles, 15 stops, 23 pressures. Again, not terrible numbers, but again, not eye-popping type of numbers. But he had a career high in quarterback hits, and he only missed 1 tackle per PFF. Now, this is something that PFF also said about him that made me want to go and take a look my damn self. But it was like, hey, he plays a bit upright, and that's understandable given that he's 6'7". So I wanted to go check it out, and it seemed like that does, back it up a little bit. He's a tall guy. Sometimes he can get tall. But you also sometimes see what made him a second-round pick, right? You see the flashes. He can be stout. He's athletic. I mean, I don't know what his athletic numbers were coming out. I don't know. But dude can move. And for 6'7", 335, he carries it well. So I'm curious, in this type of scheme, he seems like he could be a guy, when you talk about fit, that can play next to a heavyweight, or he can be the quote unquote heavyweight. So if Zimmer wants to come out and he wants to go bigger on the interior, you're not really losing some athleticism with say Davis is shaded. If you want to go 0-1, Davis can be a 1. If you want to go 1-3 and you want to bring in your Hankins, I feel like Davis can play with the Hankins. Or if you want him to be your 0 or 1. Zimmer does all these type of things. He has all types of heavyweights. So what does this cost? So according to PFF, his projected salary contract, 2 years, $3.75 million average, but only $4.5 million guaranteed. 2 years, $4.5 million. That's about, if y'all ain't seen my Capafella video on Twitter, that's about as Capafella of a Cap Boy contract if I ever heard one. He's a former premium pick. He's only 26. Should come in well under that guaranteed threshold. Checkmate. That he fits everything that Stephen Jones wants. And we know what Stephen's going to do. Stephen's going to say, hey, Will McClay, this is what Zimmer said he's looking for. This is the number I'm operating on. Go find me a collective amount of dudes. And what you'll notice here in today's episode is I'm actually going to go up. Each guy that we talk about from a projected contract standpoint, that is, the number is going to increase. So Raekwon Davis at $4.5 million guaranteed over 2 years is the lowest we're going to get, which again, that's not a lot of money. And really shouldn't bother you at all from Stephen Jones' standpoint if you were interested in this guy. Now it's a matter of, would Mike Zimmer be interested in this guy? The dude he was made in the lab, man. I think he could be an interesting player to look at. Again, not a whole lot of splash plays, but more pressures this year, I think, than he had in his career. Still a younger player. And so I'm willing, if you just say, hey, Scott, what you think about Raekwon? I'm willing to put those type of coins behind him in this scheme with this coordinator, this defensive line coach, and with a guy like a Hankins or potentially another one. Y'all just listen. Y'all just stick around. Potentially another one. I wouldn't mind it. This is kind of I don't know how you lose this situation, but Raekwon Davis, what are your thoughts here, Cowboys Nation? Are you interested or kind of more of a wait and see approach here? Interested in Raekwon? Get out of here. Or kind of wait and see? Yeah, Fangio is a 3-4 guy. So if you go watch him, you'll see him sometimes even outside at 5 tech. I mean, he's got the size to do it. But he was mostly shaded. He wasn't always over top of the center. Same thing with Wilkins. Wilkins is not a bigger dude, but Wilkins kind of did some Jay Ratliff type stuff too. But you see it was Wilkins, it was Davis, and it was another guy, the Cowboys. I think they went up against, I can't remember his name. I think his last name started with an S. They all were doing similar things. Bama boy, yes. Oscar, if you in the building, you a Bama boy. Wait and see. Yeah, I got a couple more for you, Alpha. I got a couple more. I wouldn't, if I had to rank them, I wouldn't say Raekwon is my number one guy, right? But we're trying to find dudes that fit this criteria, and Davis fits the criteria. Oh shit, you put him next to Chris Jones. I mean, you talking about the Twin Towers. You know, Sealer. Yeah, Sealer. So Wilkins, I don't believe Wilkins was injured. Could be wrong. He played against the Cowboys. You know who he probably should have been at that size, but now he bigger, low key. Technically, he's bigger than him. But old boy we had here in Dallas, the 6'7" cat that came from Kansas City. Now I'm having a brain fart right now. He out the league. I know what I'm talking about. Come on, drop the name. Give me the name. Come on. David Irving, thank you. David Irving. At 6'7", 335, you would think he'd be a David Irving type, but he's way bigger than Irving was 6'7" and like 305. Like he was on the smaller side, I think. But yes, David Irving. That's who you would think you would hope he could compare to from a playing standpoint. He didn't. Now that wasn't the case. And maybe between, I believe, Flores and then it was Vic Fangio for just the season. Maybe he just didn't have a particular fit, but I wouldn't consider him a bust. I just don't think he exceeded expectations there either. He could have been a dog, man. He could have been a dog. Before I get to my second one, Rico Gallis. Before I get to my second one, let's wrap the banks. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, morning, man. I actually like Davis, man. I was looking at him when he had came out, but his size, man, if you can get a guy like that with his size to play to his size, but play small at the same time, like, you know, he can be a force, man. And, you know, sometimes, you know, I don't want to overhype him. I'm just saying, you know, it could be the system and, you know, the coaches, so to say. But, you know, I like that as a, you know, I think that'd be a valuable pickup. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because I was gonna mention David Irving, actually before you had just mentioned right then. You know, when I got on the line, man, you just look at what David Irving could have been if he kept his head on straight, man. Because I think who
was in his circle, man? Like who could went up? I know you can't just go up and shake David Irving. The dude is 6'7", but. Hey, bro, just chill. Get your head right. You can be one of them ones in this league. And he just couldn't get his head right, man.
Do you remember how impactful he was?
Yeah.
I think it was most of his coming out party, that Green Bay game in 2016.
2016, yeah. Yeah, like 3 sacks or something like that.
Yeah, so, you know, just maybe he could, break out like that. I'm just saying, if we were to get him, that's just a,
well, from my understanding of just again slight research, but it doesn't seem like Raekwon Davis has that mental block, right? Like he seems to be a guy, shows up each off season, works hard, and wants to get better. I'm not saying this guy's going to be a great player, but give me a guy with some good work ethic like that on my squad with the physical presence that he has.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And man, I just like to see. Just what we're gonna do with this defensive tackle position. I'm anxious to see, so to say, and just, as far as that defensive tackle and linebackers and stuff. But I just like to see us get. It always seems like, man, when we take care of one position, we end up lacking at another. And I just want to kind of get well around it. You remember at one point it was the safeties, it was the linebackers, the defensive tackles. So I just kind of, I like to see us get our defense well around it. You know what I mean? And if you got some there, even, if you don't bring Gilly back, you're going to need another corner, paired with Diggs coming off an ACL injury and Deron Bland. So, but just take care, just try to get everything well around it. Don't feel like, we got enough. Don't feel like just because we got Osa and Hankins that, we won't have to add multiple.
Technically, you don't even got Hankins. So they'd be a fool.
If we get back Hankins.
It'd be a fool to
Yeah.
go into this offseason, saying we have enough there. I mean, you literally don't have enough size. We know the whole situation with Mozzie losing a lot of weight. We know Osa's 280. Even if you bring back Hank, that's one guy. And the two dudes you drafted who could potentially still be on this team, the two big dudes you drafted, you cut. So you just don't have enough size, man.
Yeah. Well, God forbid they don't resign Hankins. And they'll do much there,
look,
man.
If you don't resign Hankins, cool, as long as you bring in two other dudes. So,
Yeah.
it's not over if you don't resign Hank, but you need to bring in multiple dudes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just what I'm saying. If you don't resign them, just make sure you bring in multiple guys, the decent guys through the draft and through free agency. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to have to, not more so just don't address it through the draft and just go get some, you shop at Dollar Tree in the free agency, and then you got to wait for that guy to go through that learning curve. I know you still got Mozzie there too, but
yeah, we don't know what's going on with that.
Thing. So get another veteran. If Hankins, you don't bring back Hankins, get another valuable veteran, that's going to come in, and until we see what he can do also. So at least a couple guys, But that's all I got.
Yep. All right, man. Appreciate you, Banks.
All right, Scott.
Real quick, I happened to see the super chat here from J.R. Gower.
Super chat.
Appreciate you. He says, Zimmer goes big. What do we do with Damone? Well, Damone still plays linebacker. Like the crazy thing is Damone Clark is not a small linebacker. He's just not a middle linebacker. Damone Clark is 6'3", 240. That's prototypical size right there, especially in today's age. You just move him to off ball and you reteach him, the ability to come downhill. And I think Damone will be fine off ball as your, like I said, LB 2-3 type or 3-3A or 3B type. But you obviously keep Damone Clark. You don't get rid of Damone. Damone is not devoid of talent. I don't believe Damone is your green dot guy with less than a full year of experience doing it. And with the way he was being taught to play, I have to believe that's how they were being taught to play. So, yeah, you don't move on from Damone. You just move him out of the middle. You put him as a will backer. You get some big boys like this in there, and you get your real middle linebacker, and you let him be free. That's pretty much it. So, and well, I shouldn't say pretty much it, because you got to reteach, I think, him and these. Well, he's the only linebacker. But you got to reteach him how to, I don't want to say how to play the position, but the way that I think Zimmer is going to want to play the position is different than the way that Dan Quinn wanted him to play the position. Yeah. Let's get to my second guy. Now, this second guy, y'all, this name should sound familiar if you were rocking with me last year. Again, this is the offseason, so I know a lot of people are fairly new. Some people might have came in during the season, like what they saw, and they're around. So I never operate as if everybody just has seen the show every single episode and all the time. But this name should be familiar because he's a guy I've been trying to get on this team for a couple years now. And it's probably because we're always talking about stressing, to stop the run, and this guy does it. A'Shawn Robinson, man. I've had an immense respect for A'Shawn since his Detroit days. His film never lies. Every time he pops up, whether it be like trade market, whether it be as a free agent, I go and I'm like, okay, let me go take a look, because I get it's a position that if you're not super high-end guy, that you can be a guy that's a journeyman, and that's just football. Like, that's just sports, really. You can be a quality journeyman. So A'Shawn signed with the New York Giants this past offseason, and he did not disappoint. Now, look, the Giants weren't good, but individually, A'Shawn had a really good season, man, on a bad Giants team. He had a bunch of career highs in solo tackles, stops, combined tackles, tackles for loss. These are all career highs on a bad team. And mind you, for half of the season, he was doing this as a rotational guy, right? Because Leonard and Dexter Lawrence were there. So let me say this. I don't know, Giant fans, if you in here, authentic if you in here, but I have a hard time believing when you look at the Giants' defensive woes, you was looking in that room of Leonard Davis, Dexter Lawrence, and A'Shawn Robinson like, yeah, it's they fault. Shh. Yes, indeed. You're absolutely right here. These are two Alabama products. But hey, if y'all were watching this show last year, I was trying to get A'Shawn Robinson on this team with Hankins. You need multiple dudes. 6'4", 330 pounds. How does he fit, Sky? Now, this is an early down plugger. This isn't. See, with Davis, I feel like you can shade him. You can, hey, get after the passer because of his athleticism. He hasn't been asked to do that. But A'Shawn is an early down plugger, man. Control the line of scrimmage, push the pocket, get in the backfield. He is your run stopper at the position. So we'll get to his monies in a minute, but I personally think you can get him in here for lower than what they're projecting because he doesn't add that element of pass rush for real. But he adds an element of toughness. He's a know-how guy. I know how big I am on that. This is why even if you bring in a young buck, another rookie, even though you got a young buck on the team, that guy needs to be a part of the rotation. That's why even when we were talking about drafting a nose tackle last year, I said it's adamant you bring back Hank because you can't rely on that nose tackle by himself. In this case, you plug A'Shawn Robinson with a Hankins, and you tell Mozzie put that weight back on. Now we cooking. Now if Hankins goes down, you're not compromised. Now you got 3 to 4 defensive tackles with size. That's the other thing too, man. Like, we got to understand, even with the guy that I respect, Osa, I respect Golston, but these guys don't have the size per se to be down and down out run guys. Osa goes 6'2", 280, where Golston goes, 6'5". Now I think he's up to like 290-ish, but he doesn't have like the mass or whatnot. These dudes I showed you, they have the height and they have the width to be big bodies in the middle. And that's something that, in my opinion, that A'Shawn gives you. That's something that I think Davis gives you, and I got a couple more that we'll get to in a second. But I don't think it's going to cost you a lot. Now, he's projected from PFF 2 years, $6 million average, $8.5 million guaranteed. I feel like that's a bit high. He played on a 1-year deal last year for $5 million. That's kind of where I see an A'Shawn Robinson. Like $5 million, I feel like is where it tops off here. Maybe even less. And it's so crazy because I feel like this dude been in the league for like 15 seasons. I do. I just feel like he's been in the league so long. He's only 29. So he's not that old. So maybe he has his age on his side to say, look, I'm not 32, 33, 34 years old. A multiple year deal at $8.5 million guaranteed is not going to hurt you. Normally a durable dude as well. So I feel like if they wanted to commit multiple years to A'Shawn Robinson, absolutely you can. You're only 29 years old. But we know how it is around here. We know how it is. Hey, we took Mozzie in round 1. We can't be committing multiple years to a defensive tackle. In that case, you sign it for 1 year, $5 million deals again. Bro, he do look older than 29. He looked older than 29 when he was drafted. Stop. He looked older than 29 when he was drafted. So A'Shawn Robinson, we in or we out. Again, I'm trying to give you options where it doesn't hurt you even if you're in. You know what I'm saying? This one a little bit more expensive though. Davis was going for about 4.5 guaranteed. A'Shawn's going about 8.5 over 2 years though. So we've seen Stephen Jones get funny with it where we'll give you a 2-3 year deal, but we can get up out of that deal after year 1 and it only costs us nothing. You know. Motherfucker, you look 30. I'm in on A-Sean, if you can't tell here. I get it. This is not Jones. This is not DJ Reader. This is not Matabuke. This is not Christian Wilkins. But I'm not here to sell you hopium. I did that like 4 years ago when my very first free agency primer, man. There was some bigger names on the board. And I kept it realistic too, but it was some bigger names. And I was like, this ain't really happening, man. You know, this ain't really happening. Good morning, Bishop Kane.
Man, what's good, Scott?
What's up with you?
Man, I'm with you on bringing A-Sean in, man. You know, I've been following you for a couple of years, bro. I like how bro played, one.
Yeah.
And two, it's like Mozzie, he need, like Hankins, that's my boy, don't get it wrong, but Hankins an OG stat. He needs somebody like a multiple year deal with dude Mozzie even good, because he needs somebody to grow on side with. To me, one of Mozzie's flaws when you hear him talking, he always was glorifying Osa's game. Oh, that's not your game. Like, he kept talking about Osa game, and it's like he tried to model his body. Like, I don't know if Dan Quinn and him was like, yeah, you need to be like Osa.
Well,
like,
if we listen to McClay, I think McClay before the season, maybe during camp, maybe even during the season, I can't remember if it was during, but he kind of unprovoked talked about how, we're intrigued with Mozzie Smith's pass rush upside. So I just wonder if they were kind of trying to force this pass rush thing on him because he was a first round pick. Remember, even with Micah, when Micah was drafted, allegedly in the room, Jerry Jones was asking, well, can he give me pass rush stuff? And Dan Quinn was like, yeah. I'm not saying he can be defensive end, but I can rush him. And then we know the rest is history. They put him at defensive end and he became All-Pro. Well, I shouldn't say became, because he was one his rookie year, but he was one of the best in the league. So I wonder if they were in that room, the audio that we did not see was, hey, yeah, Mozzie can give us X, Y, Z, but he also can give us A, B, C in the pass rush department. And they were trying to speed that process up, and it backfired on them.
Right. And another thing I wanted to ask, because, really, we talking about all these guys, but we got to fix, we got to fix Mozzie, man. So I just want to know realistically, because I know that's not healthy to be losing weight and gaining weight and look how long will it take to get Mozzie back to that 330, at least 320? Like, that's bare minimum. How long would it take? Another one season? And also I want to piggyback on the last person you was talking about, Davis. It kind of give me a little bit more optimism about Mozzie, just because. People don't understand, and I know we get caught up in that first round hype, but D Chaco do take a minute to get, adjusted to the league. He ain't Aaron Donald in them. It's gonna take a little second.
Well, I think what we need to do, or what I don't want to say what needs to happen is he has to get right mentally. I feel like that's something that he might have been struggling with year one, and that could have, attributed to some of the weight loss there. So I don't know if there's anything we can, I know we joke about it and everything, right? He. I don't think it's as simple as, hey, go to Whataburger, even though we play around, go to Wingstop, go to Cane's. I don't know if it's as simple as that, because he is an NFL player now. They have dietary programs where they know how to put that off-season peanut butter on. But I do think there's something from a mental standpoint, and I kind of brought it up in passing, but I don't know. Did you see that storage video? Now again, I'm allegedly it's Mozzie Smith's storage room, because I don't know how true this is, but the video's out there. Allegedly, it's Mozzie Smith's storage room that he kind of he wasn't paying, and some dude, there's a lot of stuff in there, bro. A lot of stuff. There's a safe in there, his cleats, his playbook, his collections. There's a whole lot of stuff. And so that leads me to believe, man, this is beyond eating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Plus some of the other things
that's really what I was scared of. I was hoping that it wasn't no mental thing, because bro, man, cause man coming out, man, bro, like, bro, he got it. Like, a year did change you and can change you, but he's still the same person up inside. Like, man, the dude really was a dog in Michigan. Like, they just didn't use him right. Not even Michigan. I'm talking about the Cowboys. Like, they failed, bro. Like, just to be honest, like, I hate to say it, like, they failed, bro, as far as this rookie season. Now, maybe Zim can come through and clean it up. And I hate that he got to change coordinators in the next year, but really the whole defensive staff. But I mean,
I don't hate
it.
Help him. I don't hate it at all. Sometimes change
I just hate that he didn't get drafted by this staff. If you feel what I'm like, I like continuity. I like people to learn, stay around, get comfortable around people like woo. But yeah, like I just feel like Mozzie, bro. That's my boy, man. Bro. I hope he gets his shit together, man. Because I hate to see another Taco. Because I feel like Taco right now. I feel like that's what we're looking at.
Nah, to keep it a bean, and I hate to say this, Tacos wasn't even this bad in regards to production. It wasn't. I mean, go look at it. I mean, Taco's deal was more fit in that locker room. Production-wise, he, as a rotational dude, I mean, he was more productive than Mozzie, but. Yeah, this seems to be even worse. But this is 1 year. I'm not ready to judge him. I just mentally, I hope that he bounces back from this season.
For sure. Appreciate you taking the car, Scott.
Yep, no doubt. Appreciate you, man. For real. If you go look at talk. I mean, because that's why I hate grading the helmet. Even though we was talking about this on Vach's show. There's instances where grading the helmet makes sense, right? Defensive backs at Alabama. I'm grading the goddamn helmet. I mean, if you a first round talent, defensive back, yeah, you might miss like the dude who went to the Jets. But for the most part, you get some quality type guys. But we are scorned and we are burned because we could add TJ Watt. So when we look at the whole Taco thing, we think Michigan players, no, we don't want it. Get out of here. And then this thing happened, and the first thing that popped up was Taco. But if you go look at Taco early, it wasn't this bad. But again, I think this is more of a mental thing. You know, Dallas is not. See, it's all fun and games till you get here. I want to be a cowboy. I want to be a cowboy, baby. Okay. You know? Okay. This media different, this fan base different. They will turn on you like this. We're seeing it with our best players. The coverage. I ain't just talking about the local media. I'm talking about the national media. It's different. It's all funny games on draft day. You're holding up that. I'm glad to be Then you get here. Fam, we ain't even giving you 6 games. Boy, where's my thing at? Wait. Where's it at?
With the 24th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Cowboys select Mozzie Smith.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, boy. You get your goddamn ugly ass on.
Bust. Get him out of here. I'm telling you, man, it's a whole different game, bro. Like, you gotta be built different. You know what I'm saying? And then when you a first round pick at that, the pressure, a whole different ball game, big dog. And they put that pressure on him, you know. They brought back Hank, but Mozzie clearly first round pick. You know, this day and age, they not waiting for you. You know, this isn't no. They talk about draft and develop. They talking about your 4th and 5th and 6th and 7th rounders. Them first couple picks, they like draft and your ass is playing now, and you better contribute. I'm talking about the fans. And if you don't, get up out of here after year 1. So I do think the pressure might have gotten to him a little bit, and now what I don't want to speak on is what that pressure did to him. because come on, man, something clearly is an issue beyond just me just going on a. When I say me, I'm Ozzie Smith, going on a Jenny Craig diet. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
I'm giving them a chance, Lost. Look, I'm not even. I hated the damn second round pick, and I love the Mozzie pick. I'm not giving up on either one of them dudes. Not after one season. Yeah, come on now. But I'm understanding the frustrations for sure. Even my own frustrations with Schoolmaker. I hated the pick. Didn't need it. He here now though, right? And let's see a year or two jump for the kid. Let me get back into this, and then we'll get back to the phones. I got you. So my third guy on the list. Again, we're kind of increasing here from a number standpoint, but this one kind of plateaus a little bit. However, of the three, I feel like he's the most successful one. And we're not talking about him. We're talking about Daquan Jones. So the Cowboys didn't get a chance to play against Daquan Jones. He was out with an injury at that point when they went up against him. In fact, he missed a whole lot of games. He tore his pectoral muscle and only played 17 games. So his numbers are going to look pretty low. But when you really go dive into the numbers, it's actually impressive. He only played 7 games, had 4 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 16 tackles, right? And before he got hurt, he was leading all interior defenders through 4 weeks in pressure rate.
It ain't no thing.
That ain't what we want, man. Dang. He was leading all interior defenders in pressure rate through week 4. Then he got hurt. And he missed a whole lot of ball. He's a whole lot of ball. And he came back. I don't know if he was quite the same. You read some things about him that could be not that may be the case. He maybe wasn't the same, but you know, you tore your pectoral muscle and you're still playing in the same season. It's kind of crazy. So now I have all off season to get healthy and get back out there. Here's the thing with Daquan Jones. He's going to be the oldest guy on this list. He's 32 years old. Been around for 10 seasons. You want to talk about a quality season vet? That is Daquan Jones. 133 starts under his belt. My man just talked about on the phone when he wants to get him a veteran around Mozzie to like. I thought Mozzie should have been hanging around Hankins more than hanging around Osa, but you know that's interesting nonetheless. And before last year happened, I mean, the dude played. It wasn't like he's an injury-prone guy. He played at least 600 snaps 4 straight seasons, so he was playing a lot, and he played in my opinion, a good defense with Buffalo. So where would he fit? This is another guy that's 6'4", 320 plus. But with him, in my opinion, he kind of more mirrors what you could do with Davis, right? You could line him up at the 1 tech, you can line him up at 0, or you could shade him. From a 1 tech, 3 tech standpoint, you can line him up at 0 as a nose tackle. But he's got some pass rush to him. You know, Michael has said something like, "Hey, we want to get a big 330-pound guy that could also give you some juice as a rusher." He can do that, even for his age, man. He can still get after it. And he's got the size and ability to still be a quality player in the run. So when you go look at how much is it going to cost, guy? Because that's what it comes down to, right?
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
PFF projects him at 1 year, $6 million. Now, with that pectoral injury, I do wonder if it'll cost him a little bit. Last year, he played on like a $7 million deal. I don't think he'll cost you $7 million again. 32 years old. He's up there. I think this could be right around that A'Shawn Robinson. 1 year, 4, 5 million, 6 tops. But PFF is saying 1 year, 6 million. I think Spotrac was saying 1 year, 6.8. Either way, you're not talking about none of these guys. You're talking about long-term deals. You're talking about high guarantees. Every last one of these dudes fits under the Catboy criteria in one way or another, but they also fit what Mike Zimmer wants to do. So Daquan Jones, to me, is another one that I'd be in on here, man. I just would. I think he would fit Mike Zimmer's scheme like a glove. Now, if you notice, I haven't quite showed you the 355 and the 346 guys. There's not a whole bunch of those that I would argue are quality in free agency. But there's a bunch that roam around that 320 plus, and they have the length, 6'7", 6'4", 6'4", right? You do need that kind of combination when you look at how Mike Zimmer likes to attack it. And if you're going to be on the shorter side, you better come with it. You better be 315-ish plus. So of the three Catboy criterias, now that I got them all here, Alpha Mason, he was like, hey, man, let me just see what else you got for me here. If you could only pick one of these, who you got? Putting y'all on the spot right now, man. Hey, Rolo, he'll sign you right now. Zim will sign you right now. He sign you right now, big dog. Who you got, man? Raekwon Davis, A'Shawn Robinson, Daquan Jones. John likes Robinson. Joe likes Jones. Robinson or Davis, that is. Hank Davis and Robinson would be ridiculous. Hank Davis and Robinson. So all three. Let me tell you why I'm really intrigued with Davis, y'all. Anthony G. Davis, Benjamin Davis, starting to see some Davis. I'm intrigued with Davis. I'll take any one of these two. Here's why I'm intrigued with him. Because I feel like he got some versatility to his game. Sounds strange because he don't have a bunch of sacks. But I don't know what his combine or pro day numbers were, and I don't remember him in college. I don't remember studying him or anything like that. Oscar, maybe you could fill me in on this one. But just from what I was watching the other day, he just gives off athlete, but also the physical presence, right? He still gives off the 6'7", 335 stature. Yes, can he play a little bit high? Sure. But I feel like some coaching, Dan Quinn, Scanina, this scheme, there seems to be some versatility to his game where he can go inside out. Meaning, when I say inside out, he's always going to be inside. But I mean, zero or shaded and give you some juice. So I just think that Davis is the most interesting one to me. And then when you think about, he's 26. So if you sign him, right, say you get him to that 2-year deal and you hope he breaks out. Like you hope he has like a Jason Hatcher type of season. I remember Jason Hatcher was getting like 2 or 3 sacks, and then next thing you know, 11. It's another guy who's 6'7", 300 plus. So Davis intrigues me the most, but if I don't want intrigue, if I want to be comfortable, then Robinson and Jones. Because Robinson and Jones, you know what you're getting with those dudes. You know they're going to come in. Robinson's going to shut down the run, stop the run, and Daquan Jones gives you that veteran presence that can give you both. I looked at Tim Settle. They're on the smaller side, I believe, though. I was trying to stay in this threshold. You know what I'm saying? The big boys. Just trying. But I can dig it, Willie T. Let's get the 903. Uh-oh. Wait. Now I got you, 903. What's up, man?
All right, I'm unmuted. Yeah. Oh, what's up, man? It's E.
E?
Yeah.
E who? E, what's your name on YouTube so I can put you in?
They got me as Eric. Eric Banks, actually. But, you know.
Oh, well, okay, we'll just call you E. What's good, E?
Yeah, I like that a lot better. Anyway, I'm I'm really on with re-signing Hankins and bringing in A'Shawn, but I would think you could probably get A'Shawn and Davis at a fairly okay deal. I mean, it might cripple you from getting another free agent, but I really think that, you know, the defensive line or the defensive tackles are really important.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely in this scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I was really thinking
I got a
is
joke. I got an eHarmony joke for you. Not a joke, but a story. Go ahead.
Yeah. I see that. I go by E from Entourage. I've always been since he was Eric also.
So somebody told me to watch Entourage after I watched Ballers, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, all Ballers is Entourage, but with athletes.
That's why they was like, hey, watch Entourage, because that's basically what it's like. See, for me, I came up in I don't know if you know the show The Game. So when I was watching when I was watching Ballers, I was like, hey, this is like a rated R version of The Game, the show The Game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never watched The Game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to check that out. But no, I just want to know. Let's play a little very highly unlikely situation, but just want to uncheck the salary cap in Madden and all that real quick.
Okay. Hey,
we give you what my dream scenario. What my dream scenario is without anybody would be, if I could, I would love to see if the Chargers really were to release Joey Bosa. I'd love to see Dallas pick him up and be able to. You can move Michael Parsons anywhere in that defense to anywhere. You got him send pressure.
Okay.
And then I'd also like to bring in. I know it's still back into the very highly unlikely situations. I'd like to bring Chris Jones in since he's going free agent.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine having those two?
We're definitely checking off the salary cap. I mean.
Yeah. We're turning off the salary cap button. But I just was looking at that, or just looking at those possible free agents, and I was like, could you imagine having just those two guys with the presence of Michael Parsons being able to rush from anywhere on that field?
Well, Can I give you an alternate to Joey Bosa since we're living in this fantasy world?
Sure.
Let me give you an alternate because Joey Bosa is going to get hurt, bro. I'm just not trying to deal with that.
You're exactly right about that.
So unless you tell me we could turn off injuries, then a different story. But Danielle Hunter, though, I feel like if we're going to turn off the cap, go ahead and just go get me Danielle Hunter because I know he's going to play for me.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I like better is I like how Bosa plays the run better. That's the only difference in the two. But I do like Danielle
Hunter. Hunter, don't sleep on him against the run either. But I feel you. Bosa can play the run, but he gonna play the run for 4 games. Then he gonna be out.
Yeah, he's gonna play it for 4 games. He's gonna play it for 4 games, and then you'll just bring in someone else.
Yeah, but, he'll come back in week 17.
Yeah. I'm all in for the bringing A'Shawn and Davis in along with Hankins. I think you could have all 3. I think it's a real world scenario too that it could actually happen.
I don't think it's far fetched because if you look at Hank played for like 1.5 million. He didn't even play for $2 million. He played for a very small contract. I think he played for another small contract again. So you could look at Hank and just say, yeah, he's here, but his money's not going to affect us from adding 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, Hankins is definitely that guy. I think he likes where he's at, and he's not really – I don't think he's really keen on having to move again. So I think he really likes it, and he's willing to take somewhat of a team-friendly deal. Maybe not super team-friendly, but at least decent.
No, I'd be shocked if he signs for anything more than 2.5, 3 tops. I feel like he knows his place. He's 32 now, something like that. He made some – he's a first-round – was he first-round pick? He made his money. Put it that way. He signed a big contract. I don't think Hank is looking for a payday.
Right. And then if we had to go to the draft to pick one up, I think Byron Murphy is my guy.
Man, look, Byron Murphy. I know Robinson is more.
I don't know if he'd be available.
Edge, but yeah. Now look, Dallas likes to draft these hurt dudes, and old boy from Illinois, Newton, just got hurt. Not hurt, but he just got surgery. But I doubt they're going to take a defensive tackle that early. But Byron Murphy fall to you.
No, Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough
I
to
mean,
pass on.
Yeah. That to me might be the best player in the entire draft too.
Ooh. All right, E.
Well, I mean,
E Honda?
at his position. I'm sorry. At his position, I guess I need to put that in there.
Yeah. He seems to be consensus one for that position. Yeah. Hey, appreciate the call, though, E.
Oh yeah. You take care, man. Y'all have a good one.
You as well.
Yep.
I remember them days, man. Turning off the Madden. Joey Bosa's interesting. He's a fine player, but he gets hurt too much. Danielle Hunter, he used to get hurt too a little bit, but he's coming off a big one. But man, if you Bosa and Jones on the same defense, I'm like, shit. The amount of talking I would do, knowing damn well one of them is getting hurt. But I'm trying to stay in this kind of realm here. Try to bring the fat boys back.
Fat boys are back, and you know they can never be whacked. The fat boys are back. Do you like the fat boys?
Shouts out to my step-pops, man. Try to bring one of these in, man. Ain't too many of them out there, though. There's not. So I'm trying to find a combination of this version, this era. So let's get back to it. This last one, I told you, we're kind of increasing a little bit. Raekwon Davis should be on the lower end. A'Shawn should still be on the lower end, but the higher of it. Daquan kind of plateaus these three, or these two. This next one, though.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
I'm gonna cost you a little bit, but we're talking about our all-in now.
Bet it all.
Top line. There he is. Grover Stewart. And I'll get through this one as quickly as possible. Grover Stewart, man, he's the one that is a very popular name out there right now, and for good reason. For very good reason. He can bring it, man. He can bring it in multiple facets of the game. A former 4th-round pick out of Albany State, and if you're out of Albany State, you know, if you get drafted, especially, top 100 or so, you get drafted, you're going to have to work your ass off, right? And he did that. Listening to one of his coaches, he's like, hey, man, the player he is now is because of the work he put in to get here, right? He credits him more than he credits the actual coaching, and I love to hear that. Now, here's the problem, man. You might have to credit them damn PEDs, too. He got suspended last year for 6 games because he was on a juice, right? He was on the juice. But even before that, if you go look at his history, he's always been a quality, or he's turned himself into a quality, reliable defensive presence, for the Indianapolis Colts. Now, the last 5 games when he did come back, throughout the whole season, 41 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 24 stops. But he missed a good chunk of that middle part, right? The last 5 games of the season, my man's had 11 stops, 6 pressures, 12 tackles. And check out this little nugget right here for PFF. I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but just take a listen. Indianapolis ranked in the top half of the NFL in expected points allowed per rush with Grover Stewart on the field. When he was off the field, they were dead last. I'm just saying. Grover Stewart could be one of those all-in type of characters. And we'll look at the money that they're asking on PFF. You're looking at roughly 11. And that's why he's considered our all-in character. Because he's not from the Dollar General. He ain't from Target either. He's going to cost you a little bit of money. With that said, it's that time, Cowboys Nation. lock in with our guy Patrick No C Walker of DallasCowboys.com for this week's version of the Scientific Method. What's good, Pat?
What's good, my brother? It's Friday. We're
Beautiful
talking
Friday.
Cowboys football. Can't complain, man.
At all. And you know what? I'm just saying, I'm starting to dig these Fridays. I'm just saying, I'm not, you know. I'm just a little nudge, just trying to,
I knew that statement would come back around.
You done gave me an inch and I'm taking a mile.
No, that's what I'm saying. You planted that seed a couple times already. I'm like, man. So every time that either you or I have to push to Friday, the first thing that pops in my head, I'm like, he ain't slick. He ain't slick. It's either he ain't slick or if it's on me, I'm like, God, this is just going to enable. This is going to enable him.
You're an enabler. It's okay. You're an enabler. It's all good.
I'm an enabler. But you know what? There are worse things to be an enabler about.
This is facts.
So, you know, if a one-day push on our hit is that, no big deal.
This is facts, man. But check it. Oh, by the way, and you know what? I'll bring this up later towards the end. But let's get into today's topic, and we're talking defensive tackles. I hit you up and I said, hey, man, we've been on the same page lately. I'm talking DTs today. You just dropped your DT article, looking at the outlook, and I'm like, bam, perfect timing. You know, let's get Pat's thoughts on this defensive tackle room, and that's kind of where I want to start. Where it stands currently right now, you can review it as well because there's a couple guys that are not obviously under contract, but just kind of your overall thoughts on the room in 2023 and the outlook on some of the players that aren't under contract.
I mean, I think the defensive tackle room is in trouble as we have this conversation because as we have this conversation, you don't have a big body nose tackle under contract because Jonathan Hankins is set to hit free agency if a deal isn't agreed to before he does. Same goes for Neville Gallimore, who is less valuable than Hankins is, however, still a quality rotational piece. He's hitting free agency if a deal isn't done. So really, when you look at it, I mean, Chauncey Golston, promising young talent, but going into a contract year, and he hasn't had his breakout season yet. With the jury is out on what Mazi Smith is going to look like in 2024 under Mike Zimmer. Are they going to take him to, Golden Corral and just give him Jerry's credit card and tell him to get that weight back up? Or as our guy Vox likes to say, give him the peanut butter, right? Is he going to be a 3? Is he going to be a 1 as far as his technique is concerned? We don't know. So, the only thing that you can look at, you can point at in the defensive tackles room and say, that dude is a him, and we know we got him, and we're solid on him, is Osa. It's Osa Odighizuwa. That's the only one. But then even still, I mean, Osa's going into a contract year as well. So however you look at it, the defensive tackle room for the Cowboys is in almost as poor shape as the linebacker room. The only difference is that there are actually defensive tackles that are still in the building until they, potentially leave in free agency. Whereas the linebacker room, you got 2 actual linebackers. One is Buddy Johnson. Sorry, you're buddy. In trouble there. But defensive, sorry, buddy. No shade at all. But it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. But from a defensive tackle standpoint, I mean, you're almost as bad. You're almost as in such a bad spot as the linebacker room.
And for me, Pat, this has been an ongoing thing for better part of a decade or so. I've said this a lot here over the years. I think the Cowboys have not had a consistent force at the position. This is no disrespect to the David Irvings and the Osas of the world, because I think Osa's trajectory is great. He's continuing to ascend, but he's not quite the force that Jay Ratliff was at a consistent basis. And we haven't had that yet, since Jay left. And at first it was under Rob Marinelli. He didn't care about really the quality of the player or the size of the player. He just was like, just give me orphans and I'll make it work. And then Dan Quinn gets here and Dan's like, you know what? We need to emphasize size. So he started to put his DNA, on the defensive tackle position. Mike Zimmer is now here. And you look at Mike's history, he has a specific type. Where do you see Zimmer making an imprint on this front?
As you know as well as I do, Zimmer's defenses feature 2 things typically. Outstanding linebacker play and big boys up front. So I fully expect that in the Mike Zimmer administration, we'll see how long it lasts, 1 year, 2 years, depends on the McCarthy equation and all of that. But in the Zimmer administration to come, I fully see him looking at the situation and saying we need more beef up front. Like, absolutely. Now, does that mean that it's by way of Jonathan Hankins? I'm a huge fan of re-signing Jonathan Hankins, absolutely. But there are also bigger names and more impactful names to be had as well. So if we're talking about going all in, right, this is where I start calling the Cowboys bluff, for lack of a better way to put it. I did it in the wide receivers piece of the open market section, and I'm doing it again at the defensive tackles piece because, yeah, you could re-sign Jonathan Hankins, and that would be a quality re-signing. He would absolutely help you. You saw what the run defense looked like without him before he came, and you saw what it looked like with him. So, huge fan of Jonathan Hankins. However, is Jonathan Hankins Chris Jones?
No.
Is Jonathan Hankins,
Wilkins?
Let's say Leonard Williams? Yeah, Williams? No. So, again, this is not to knock Hankins at all. Again, big fan of Hankins, and he's a quality piece that you would like to keep around. But that being said, if you want to go balls to the wall, it's a guy like Chris Jones. It's a guy like Christian Wilkins. And you mentioned Grover Stewart. It's a guy like Grover Stewart, right?
Yeah.
So even if it's a combination of you keep Hankins on a 1-year deal and still go balls to the wall on a guy like Jones, and I mean, just imagine this. Think about this for a second still. Think about this and contain your excitement if you can. Think about if the Cowboys added Chris Jones to this formula that has Micah and Tank on the bookends with Hankins in rotation.
Whew.
And that's even before we talk about the linebackers. But just where are you running the ball?
Yeah.
And not just that, when do you have time to pass the ball?
There you go.
Because we know what Chris Jones can do from the interior as a pass rusher. And then the beauty of Chris Jones is he can do it at the edge as well when you want to go switch up to a 3-man front, time and again. So I say all that to say you have plenty of options, which we'll talk about in a second. But under the Zimmer administration, I think he picks up where Dan Quinn left off in convincing the Cowboys that, hey, you got to have big boys on the defensive interior, which is something that didn't exist before Quinn. But I do think Zimmer takes it to another level.
Yeah, you mentioned some of the bigger names, and rightfully so. Kind of left out Matabuke there, who's probably going to get some bread. You said Leonard Williams.
Yeah, Matabuke. Who we got? Matabuke, DJ Reader.
Yeah,
I mean, there are names out there, dude.
There are names out there, but we also have to be aware of who's paying these.
Here comes the money.
Yeah.
Here we go. Money talk.
I'm just saying, Steven doesn't like to pay these guys. But let's just talk about some free agent names to watch for you. We can go as far as Chris Jones if you want, or we can kind of what names are realistic for you.
Well, first of all, kudos on using the Shane O'Mac music. so there's that.
I knew you'd like that one.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely. So let's use it as a segue. Let's talk about this elimination chamber of candidates for the Cowboys.
See, I don't know. That was
so.
Right there.
Yeah, hey, bars. But if you start with Chris, you have to start with Chris Jones, right? So you have to start with Chris Jones, and he's an incomparable talent, future Hall of Famer, still very much in his prime. I don't want to hear a damn thing about his age. This dude is it. He is him times him times him. You get Chris Jones, okay, now I believe you. You're all in. Not just that, your defensive line is just now it's monstrous. It's going from, okay, it can be solid to holy crap. Problem is, and this is where you insert a Ted DiBiase quote, everybody has a price.
Yep.
Right? And Chris Jones's price. You talk about Grover Stewart's price. Chris Jones's price. You're either going to pay it or you're not getting it, and it's not going to be cheap. So that's where you start to go to other options who won't be cheap, but it'll be less expensive, but still quality. So guys I mentioned like Christian Wilkins, he'll be less expensive, and he's younger. He's 28 years old, so you'll get more life out of him as far as the length of the deal. Probably not going to I mean, you might get Chris Jones on like a 4-year, which I would be fine with, even with his age, considering how he's playing. But more realistically speaking, if you're going to give out a 4 or 5-year deal, you prefer it to be like a 28, 27, 26-year-old. So then that brings me to like Christian Wilkins. He's doing great things down there for the Dolphins, coming off of a career season, 9 sacks last year, forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries. A name that the Cowboys and Cowboys fans know well, and Leonard Williams, from his time spent with the New York Giants. Would love to have, Leonard Williams in the middle of the Cowboys defensive line. That's another one. You talk about Madubuike. I think that he's one that, for whatever reason, people are not talking about. And I don't know if it's because they're scared to try to pronounce his last name. But I feel like if you can get past Igbenogany, you can get past Madubuike, okay? But, yeah, he's done phenomenal things up there in Baltimore. And, they've also made it easy for him because when you have Roquan and Patrick with a C behind you doing those all-pro things, it makes it easier for your defensive line. But, okay, so then you look at the Cowboys and say, hey, get him some linebackers to help him excel like he did in Baltimore. So that's another name. DJ Reader. I'm kind of, like I mentioned in the article, I'm kind of 50-50 on Reader. He's definitely quality. I think he deserves to be on the list. But there are a couple of things that worry me about him, injury being the main thing. And the last thing the Cowboys need is an availability issue. But when Reader is healthy, absolute animal, 100%. 100%. But the problem is we saw what happened when the Cowboys went down. I mean, they showed some resiliency, but at the same time, they cannot afford to lose more key guys going forward, especially in a year like 2024. So you need a guy that's going to be durable as much as he is impactful. But Reader still belongs on the list. And then I have honorable mentions. Go ahead.
Can I sell you on his teammate real quick before we get to the rest of the free agents? Can I sell you on his teammate B.J. Hill as a potential trade guy? Because B.J. Hill, him and Reader, when they played together.
You can, but here's the problem. I can't talk trade.
That's, you know what? Pretend I ain't saying none of that. What? Trade? We talking about?
Yeah.
A trade?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Trade
You a plumber?
So
anyway, go ahead.
Jake. But just for clarity for those that are listening out there, and thanks for tapping into the scientific method, just so you know, because I am tagged by the team, right? I can only speak about expiring contracts. I can't speak about trade options because that can be viewed as tampering by the opposite team. And I don't want to be the reason the Cowboys lose draft picks. So, no, we're not going to talk about trade targets. But let me just say, I smell what the bloodline is cooking, and I don't disagree with his teammates.
Fair enough. We're just going to leave it at that, Pat, because I'll be damned if I get a call from Pat talking about, hey, you better pull up, Sky, because now I'm we cool.
I do not want to be a headline on Twitter, no seed, the reason the Cowboys lost, 3 comp picks or some weird shit like that, so no. But I got other names as well. I mean, if you want to go veteran that's comparable to Jonathan Hankins that could be seen as a slight upgrade, but age-wise he's still there. Calais Campbell's still playing at a high level. If you want to come back to the younger side, Javon Kinlaw, he's right there. He's a little bit inconsistent though, but Tier Tart, that's a name that pops out to me as well. You mentioned Grover Stewart, great name there. Sheldon Rankins, I still think Sheldon Rankins has some good value. Shelby Harris, he had an up and down young career right now, but I feel like under the right tutelage, i.e. Mike Zimmer, he can prosper really. And then if you really just want to go full petty, you look at Fletcher Cox and you say, what do you got, dude? Like one more year, you're still playing at a high level. Just come do the Jason Peters thing. Right? So, I mean, my point is what did we just rattle off? Like close to 10, and I didn't even name all of them that's in the article. Yeah, there is no reason the Cowboys should not be or find themselves in position to grab 1 or 2 of these impactful defensive tackles to drop in between Tank and Micah and really start to prosper. So there's tiers to this, there's levels to this. So Chris Jones, tier 1, and then tier 2, guys like Christian Wilkins and DJ Reader, Leonard Williams, Madubuike. If you come out of free agency with none of these names, you're not all in, and you won't be able to convince me that you are.
Listen, man, and I said this before, if you don't come out of this free agency with at least one of a defensive tackle and linebacker, then you might as well look at this as not a rebuilding year, but we just throwing in a towel type of year because you're not serious to me. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And speaking of linebackers, that's coming.
Perfect. Perfect.
That's actually that is next. So
man, see, come on, talk about the segue, man. Oh, last thing, before I let you go, because I know you got a busy day ahead. You waking up at 3:00 in the morning tomorrow for Elimination Chamber?
Fact.
What is that?
Listen,
come on, man.
I am so furious at them for making me make this decision, but I tell you what, and I know there are people out there saying, "Oh well, no, see, just watch the replay." That don't hit the same.
Nah.
I don't want to wake up to spoilers because y'all don't know how to not put spoilers online. You can't keep things to yourselves,
nope.
and I don't know why. So I'm not gonna let you ruin my day.
Nope.
So what I'm probably gonna do, I have an alarm set just in case I fall asleep. But truth be told, I'm probably gonna just try to stay up, and I'm gonna get some Call of Duty in. So if anybody want to tap in with me on the Call of Duty, my PSN tag is the same as my Twitter handle, @VoiceOfTheStar. And if you want my specific Activision hashtag and whatnot, just send me a notification, reply to me, mention me on Twitter, and I'll screenshot it to you. So either way, I'm going to be up with those Australians watching me some Elimination Chamber.
Facts.
So, facts.
I'll probably be hitting you up then because ain't nobody else going to be up. So I'll probably be hitting you up when we're watching this thing.
Oh, yeah, you'll be up too.
Yeah.
And I'll be live.
100%.
Anybody who has my notifications on are going to wait and doesn't watch wrestling, they're going to wake up in the morning and hate me because I'm going to get this
Come on, chill.
I'm going to get this in. You might want to turn those notifications off tonight and turn them back on like tomorrow around noon if you don't like wrestling. If you love wrestling, keep them on. Let's talk.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk.
Oh, yeah. All right, man. That's Patrick No C Walker of DallasCowboys.com. Appreciate you as always, bro. And you have a fantastic weekend, brother.
Yes, sir. Talk to you next Friday.
Hey, he said it, not me. He said it, not me.
I said it.
Holding you to it.
I said it, man.
Appreciate you, bro.
All right, bro.
This week's edition of The Scientific Method, man, we even gave y'all a little bit of wrestling. For those who don't know what the hell we're talking about. So, Elimination Chamber, which is a, what do they call it, a PLE now? It's not called pay-per-views no more. I still call them pay-per-views. Pay-per-view just feels big, right? Pay-per-view. They're called PLEs now. It's one of the PLEs, premium live events, but they're doing it in Australia. And they're doing it in Australian local time, which means it starts at 5 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Dallas, 2 o'clock Pacific. Man, that's crazy. But he right, man. Like, I usually try to catch these things live. Every time somebody say, because this is the first time they start at a weird time. Sometimes they start at 11 or 1 or depending where they at. And I'm like, nah, I got to catch it live because if I don't catch it live, I get all the spoilers. And I ain't worried about that. So, and my man, who was it? G said I'm going to be asleep. See, here's a trick, G. See, ever since I met my wife, I go to sleep mad early now. Mad early. Vach texted me a couple days ago at like 9 something. I woke up middle of the night-ish. And I was like, damn, why are you texting me so late? I didn't know what time it was. So I looked over and I was like, oh, he texted me at like 9. I was already asleep. I was already knocked out, man. So I will be asleep early. So that'll help me get up early to watch this thing here. But who was it that brought up Sting? Somebody was in here talking about Sting. There you go. Lunds. Lunds said, can we get a Sting reference since we're nearing his last match a week or two away? So I've kind of seen that floating around on Twitter. I don't watch AEW as intently as I watch WWE. I watch that weekly AEW, kind of follow it. I don't have a strong current opinion on Sting. My Sting thought goes back to the 90s, the NWO era, the Crow Sting. I do remember the pre-Crow Sting, the Ultimate Warrior makeup type looking Sting. But another legend, man. He got his little 10 minutes in the WWE and then was up out of there real fast. But I remember the time where we never thought we'd see him in the WWE. He was always going to be a WCW guy. Then he got here, Hunter kind of did him dirty a little bit because there's always that rivalry, right? Surfer Sting, yeah. Let's get back to football real quick, man. Let me close this thing out. Yeah, so if y'all want to call in, you got about 5 minutes to do so. I'm about to give y'all kind of my closing statement on this whole thing. In case you missed it, real quick, these are my 3 free agent primer guys. That's my all-in guy. But these are my 3 guys here: Raekwon Davis, A'Shawn Robinson, Daquan Jones. Very bottom, I'd say bottom of the barrel, but to be honest, these aren't guys that don't cost you a whole lot of money, but I also think they're quality guys. Just got done talking to Pat. We talked about the big guys, about Matabukes, the Wilkins, and the Joneses. I just don't think that's going to happen. And I ain't mean to set up Pat like that. I completely forgot that the whole trade thing they can't talk about. So we ain't trying to get my guy in trouble. So y'all remind me not to talk about trades with Pat no more. Whew. Almost had Pat working for A to Z by alone. I want to get to my hot take. Presented by Hattie B's. Simple. I'm not going to sit here and make this some difficult thing here. My hot take for this week. Given Mike Zimmer's background, and we showed y'all what that was, right? Specifically in Minnesota. I think the Cowboys will invest in not 1, but 2 heavyweight defensive tackles this offseason. My thinking is that both of them will come via free agency. Not necessarily big names, but the big bodies. But I would not rule out 1 in free agency and 1 in the draft. And I know everyone's talking about Sweat, right? That's the guy. But there's multiple big guys like that, and you can get said heavyweight later on in the draft. So I think they invest in 2. 1 in free agency, 1 in the draft. But personally, I'd lean more towards both in free agency. And maybe because of the Mazi Smith situation. We don't really know what's going to happen there. Mazi was not drafted by this regime. Will he add the weight back on and be ready to contribute in that manner year 2? Me personally, I'll let that develop, but I'm not going to rely on that. I'm going to bring in some veteran guys that I can rely on. Whether that's, we can include Hankins, right? We can say Hankins and Robinson. We can say Daquan and Davis. We can say Hankins and Davis. Regardless, I think they will invest in 2 heavyweight guys. It's that simple. It's in Mike Zimmer's DNA. And that's my hot take presented by Hattie B's. As always, no conversation about the best Nashville-style hot chicken is complete without a serious mention of Hattie B's. They are in year, I believe, 2 downtown in Deep Ellum. If you are in the DFW area, if you are in the Dallas area in general and you work downtown or need somewhere to go, head on down. Nice little setup. It's beautiful there. Y'all see me there set up all the time when we do our Hattie B's each month on location. They've got all types of heat. If you don't like hot, they got mild. If you like hot, they got shut the cluck up, and that's super hot. Make sure you use that link in the description, HattieBees.com. You can sign up, use the A to Z Sports. Or if you want to look out for the teachers around the way, you can do that too, man. Nominate your favorite teacher, and they can win up to $100 in gift cards and a lunch catered up to 100 staff members. That as well is in the description. Each month they will provide that to the winner that they give out. If you want to help and celebrate and give thanks to the amazing teachers in our area. It's my hot take presented by Hattie B's. Good stuff today, man. Good stuff. You always say that, bro. Let me get to these super chats on the way out. That's right, I started late because I'm like, it's already 10:20. Started late on purpose because I knew we was getting Pat a little later. Y'all probably don't buy that, but I'm serious. Patel brought up LVE. Said he wasn't the top 3 drafted in his class. Yeah. Should have been. You come out with neck injuries like that, probably shouldn't even been drafted. But let's see. Where we at? 23 ski. All right. I got the JR. Let's get the Toxic. You never know what you're going to get with Toxic Super Chat. But he dropped 5, and he said, Sky, the sad part is, talking about Schoonmaker, with Schoon is one of our better second round. Oh, I get what you're saying. The sad part is Schoon is one of our better second rounders. Dallas Does Dallas take guys that people are down on to prove they're wrong and we can make them great? So I get what you're saying. He's one of the better, you should say, less risky picks, right? Because you look at the history, the Cowboys view that second round as their risk spot. All right. Who was it? Randy Gregory. We know he liked to smoke weed. Smoke weed every day. So he drops into the second round because all the failed drug tests. But the talent is crazy. Take him. All right, boom. Sean Lee. We know he's fantastic, but he was super injury prone at Penn State. But he falls to second round. Take him. Jalen Smith. I don't even have a knee, but he was talented in at Notre Dame. Second round. Take him. It keeps going too. They don't stop right there. You know, Boss Man Fat. We know he liked to be in the booth. You know, this is what Boss Man Fat. Yeah. He liked to be in the booth. He don't really, football's not his first love. He doesn't really care about the sport as much as he cares about his music career. He got talent, second round. Take him. They love that. They love to do that in the second round. But you are absolutely right. What? Escobar? Diggs. Nah, I ain't gonna do that to Diggs. Diggs. Let's not do that. Diggs. D-Law. There wasn't much that came with these guys. D-Law, there was more like size. I think they was worried about his size, but that didn't really matter. But off-field stuff, Diggs, D-Law, Escobar. I don't think Martellus had off-field stuff. Martellus was just vocal. So from time to time, they grab these guys without off-field issues. But Tristan Hill, another red flag guy. Headache, doesn't take coaching well. I mean, there's a whole little lengthy list of guys they take in that second round. Was Bruce Carter second round too? Injury history guy? Nah, not Pablo. Gavin, but rest in peace. Yeah, man. So he was definitely a quality person, no off-field issues. But you can also argue, though, for real, if you really want to. And we kind of brought this up last year, though, Toxic. What made him a second-round risky pick might have been buried underneath, good guy, no problem, not a headache, Captain America type. His issues were buried underneath. The dude was 37 years old. I mean, you drafted him. He also had a couple injuries coming in, too. Nobody really was talking about much. And then that happened. That popped up at camp, and he missed some time. And that time actually cost him. So there was a little bit of risk there, too, though. Y'all talking about Lyle? Lyle was undrafted, yeah. It's a good one, though.
Super chat.
Uppercut Cannon. That's a dope YouTube name. It says, salute, Sky. I don't know much about the DT archetypes. Is John Ridgeway the type of guy we're looking for? And could we get him back realistically? He is. Ridgeway go what, y'all? 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", 320 plus? Ridgeway would have fit perfectly right here with he would have fit perfectly.
Fat boys are back, and you know they can never be whacked. The fat boys are back. Do you like the fat boys?
My pop's probably watching. He taught me how to pop block when I was about. Do a little something. I do a little something. I can't do it like him. He was in a whole group in the 80s. When I think about hip hop, I think about him. He was hip hop. I done seen the pictures, the Kango, the track suits, all the pop and all that. That's him. He's hip hop. But yeah, man, he kind of fit the fat boy criteria. Oh, come on, man. He fit the fat boy criteria. But he ain't here no more, right? And I doubt it. You know what's so crazy? Dan Quinn draft this dude. Dallas trades him to Washington, and Dan Quinn goes to Washington to get him again. Ain't that something? So maybe Dan said, I don't want him, and he traded back to Dallas. I don't know. But he wanted him at first, and look, he's going to be a better player in year 3 than he was as a rookie. That's for sure. I remember I was out there during his rookie year at camp, and me and Vosh kept coming back to do the show, and we like, look, I love the potential of this guy. He's got attitude and whatnot, but he's a 5th round pick for a reason. He was quite literally at the bottom of your defensive tackle depth chart. But that's different now. Now he's got 2 years of experience. Now Quinn's back, so I have a hard time believing that he will get rid of him unless he's just terrible, you know. Unless he's terrible. One more refresh here. Don't get me pop locking. Boom. Good to go. All right, Cowboys Nation. Or should I say Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
Because if you're here, you're really part of the Bomb Squad, man. We're in the first part of the dog day. There's usually like 3 dog day parts. There's the right after the Super Bowl, before Combine. Then there's after the Combine, you get something to talk about a little bit. Then there's right before the draft, after free agency. Then there's after the draft, where you get that month and a half or wherever they're out. There's no mini camps, there's no OTAs or nothing. It's just nothing to talk about. So we're in the first part of the dog days. And y'all here, man. Y'all rocking with me. Trying to give y'all this quality content, man. It's now toxic. Let's relax. But yes, she fits the mold. Let me not do that. All right, good stuff. I had fun today. I knew this was going to be a good one. Shouts out to Pat coming through. Shouts out to Hattie B's. Make sure on your way out, if you forgot, because I get it sometimes, you know, we just having some fun. If you forgot to press the button, or I'm sorry, if you got to hit the like button, go ahead and hit that if you enjoyed the show. No show from Mauricio, so he won't be on. His last show was last night. He'll be back on Sunday. In the meantime, in between time, I'll be putting together next week's episodes, I think, and I'm going to reach out to my bro, Foots. I think we're going to be talking Combine. I think Combine starts, measurements and all that on Monday, and we'll get, they'll be doing all these drills and whatnot. So we'll talk about Combine a little bit, and then we'll mix in another part of our free agency primer, and, continue to rock. Continue to rock. And eventually, it's coming up shortly, I will be taking a bit of a break, but we ain't there quite yet. Still here. I got y'all, but I'm going to go ahead and press this button now.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Yeah, y'all ain't finna get me canceled. Y'all just have a safe, fun weekend. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. I'll see y'all on Monday as long as I ain't get Pat fired. Imagine if I get a call from Derek Eagleton. We out of here. Love y'all. Peace. Hey, Skywalker. Yeah, I need you to stop setting up my guy, Patrick.
Squad!